Hello, my name is Emma McDermott, and this is my demonstration speech for Introduction to Communications. To start out, I wanted to show off a record I have in my collection. This is a record I inherited from my grandfather, and for the most part, it stood the test of time pretty well. There is a slight curve to it, a slight warp, and there are a few scratches along this record surface. The cover is also stood up pretty well, but as you can see, especially on the back, you can kind of see where the record sat in, so there's a little bit of distress and wear there. Well, this doesn't make the record totally unenjoyable to listen to. Every once in a while, there'll be maybe a pop or a skip in the record, which will interrupt the listening experience. That being said, today I'm going to demonstrate a few easy steps on how to properly secure your record so this doesn't happen. First thing is how to properly hold a record. The record has lines in it, and that's where the needle sits when the music plays. So it's important to avoid touching those grooves in your record. How I like to do that is by having my thumb on the side and have my fingers touching the paper part in the back. This avoids any debris from my hands getting in those grooves or any oil from them, keeping it in its pristine condition. So that's step one. Step two is properly cleaning your records. I bought a kit a few months ago with a couple different things in it. One is a spray cleaner, another thing is a velvet brush, and last thing is a soft bristle brush. When first purchasing a record, I always like to give it a good spray and wipe down with the velvet brush, as this gives the best clean for your record. A lot of this is due to records sitting on production lines for a while. A lot of companies such as Target or Walmart will mass produce records and have them sit there for a while, which will be a good thing for it to collect dust or different debris kind of floating around in the facility. That being said, in between listens, I like to give it a good brush with just this simple soft bristle brush, as it can collect dust from my home or even pet hair to get any of the debris off the record. So that's step two. Step three is properly sleeving your record. You've probably seen records come in sort of a paper sleeve or even like a photo paper sleeve. And while this seems like a good protection for the record, it's typically not. A lot of these kind of create static with the record, so as you're pulling it out, it kind of has some friction to it. This can lead to scratches on the record surface, which will also lead to that popping sound when you're playing your record, or even skips in the record itself. So what I like to do is to put it in something called an anti-static sleeve. Just as the name suggests, it doesn't create that static when taking the record in and out of it. So just like I said, holding the record by not touching its grooves and slipping the record right into that static sleeve, like so. The next step is getting an outer sleeve. The outer sleeve primarily protects the album artwork, but kind of helps avoid getting those lines like I showed you, with the record pressing so tightly against it. So same thing like before, just sliding it into here. This usually has a little bit of a tight fit, so sometimes it takes me a second, but here we go. This also avoids records kind of rubbing up against each other if you're storing them next to each other. So another good purpose for this. Last thing when sleeving your records is deciding where you want to put your record. There's not really a better way than most on any of it, but how I like to personally do it is just slide the record into the back of it, like so. So when I pull my record from my collection, I have my album artwork here, and you can flip it around right to the record, and you can reach in and grab it like that. The final step is storing your record upright. Some people store records like this, which can lead to it warping, so kind of a curve in the record. So when the record's playing with the needle on it, it'll kind of create a wavy motion, which will lead to impurities in the sound quality. So it's important to store your record upright like so. So, to conclude, it's important to handle your record properly, clean your record properly, sleeve it properly, and store it properly. All these things will help keep your records in pristine condition. Not only will they sound great, but they'll look great as well.